Anyway, let me bring you up to the stage a poet that's awesome as shit. He always brings the fire. And I'm standing up here for Harry. Mr. Harry. Give it up. Thank you, Harry.
Hello, hello. We're good? All right. Sound good? There we go. We just jump in. Grown men and women, scared of their own shadow, terrified of their own. I just wrote that part and I'm screwing it up, so let me just get to the beat. Grown men and women, scared of their own shadow, terrified of their own voices, and fear of their own dreams. As large egos begin to fall, just how many will be crushed by their weight? As victors begin to rise, just how many books will be written with the blood of men, women, and children? A man on the moon, exiled from Earth, a monster called America, under the influence of common Cold War propaganda, infected with red alerts, red scares, NATO, NATO, secret meetings, just another bullshit reason for a young man to die today. A martyr to his hometown, a pawn for his recruiter. A man sits in front of the television set and believes he knows everything, speaking language of puppet master. Many are learning to carry out their orders before they were ever given. There are those who believe in Russian boogeymen. They are on wounded knee praying to John Wayne's ghost. They believe themselves to be saints as they dance in the flames of Babylon, carrying on about doing nothing wrong and being one with God. They are waving flags, raging war on invisible enemies, discussing fear over coffee, beer, and tea, intoxicated by the sensationalism of fabricated stories delivered by boat-tongue anchormen. Paradise on fire, a nation that conspires against itself. Loyalists believe themselves to be nationalists, far from patriots, demons, druids, and sadists. A morbid sense of fashion, decorated with diamonds, covered in sin, covered in the blood of the innocent. Red rubies, red waters, children defenseless with dead fathers and helpless mothers, and not enough fingers to count to 10. Sultans and Colton applaud your generous contribution to child slavery. We, the people, guilty of the high cost of luxury. Chivalry is dead, and the one who killed it wears its mask, pretending to laugh, pretending to cry, pretending to be human. He smiles over genocide, rejoices over sin. He chants as he dances on a dance floor made of human skin, a heart without a beat, a silent MC. His blues run empty, a war overseas, a war on the streets, a battle within, infected by the blame. Heavy chains, a handful of rings. He dares call himself free, weighted down by the industry, mining industry, music industry, war industry, porn industry, sex and violence. And where is the humanity? A disease gone viral, a cure unaccounted for, a storm born to balance out the poor, a world at war, a nation that has fooled them into believing they were the victims as they were invading neighboring sovereign republics of the past 8 years, an unseen trail of the Soviets' tears, a country once again handed an enemy molded from a stranger they never really knew. What would you do if he gunned down your family, if he came to claim your identity, if he turned off your TV? And get to know them. A release changed the channel, a change of direction, a change of ideas. Some things never change. Some people change as soon as they change into uniform. Your leaders are liars, your heroes mercs for hire. Your enemies were inspired by heavy fire that slayed their families. How dare we insist they take the knee? This was never our fight. This game needs a devil. The news takes a blank canvas they use to paint the picture, to tell a story, to sell a story to a people exposed to a massive world through one microscopic lens viewed through tame, trained visuals transfixed on large screens and pocket-sized propaganda machines, blind to what the world shows you when not looking, what dead men tell you when not breathing. The sky is not blue but clearing, the fire is not burnt but burning. Rose-colored glasses, heavily applied filters, a voice of freedom, liberty is a lonely woman so few stand for.
There are too many cowards that only follow. Protesters are trained to fight against their very own movement. Where is a movement when one stands still, frozen in fear? What's this movement without a pulse? A nation in a coma claiming to be woke. A government, a corporation that only sees business. But I see people. I see you. Furthermore, these wars preform to feed the overseas opportunist, ruthless Marxist, religious extremist, cannibal capitalist, global imperialist who fired the first shot, who delivered the first barrage, lethal weapons with lethal rain, deadly array of bullets filling once clear sky, killing once quiet night, pocketing off genocide. Blood money makes way into a free country that cannot provide the very definition of freedom for those who don't know themselves, who lost hope in themselves, who confine themselves within preset perimeter to answer to whatever society decides to call them. True monsters have been created by the same men who now hunt them. A people should not be deemed evil for the mere practice of self-defense. A people should not be slaughtered for NATO's not-so-secret one world government, for a conflict at a safe distance, civil wars within the division of one government, puppeteering two political parties off the same cloth. We are lost but found by strangers. We are disposable contributors to cold empires. We are constructing straw houses before lakes of fire. A draft dodger, a soldier, a shepherd, a shopkeeper, a widow of the last invasion who still grieves for her three deceased children. A man who stands alone, a thoughts controlled, an American dream, a foreign nightmare, a blasphemous crusade, a disturbance in one's faith. We surpass the last day, a time unwritten. I envision an end to all revisions. A lion trying to transform back into a sheep. A man who believes he is more deserving of the breath we are all supposed to breathe. A war, a world, a way closer than one may think. We elect mortal masters. We select codes of ethics, laws determined by the unlawful. Before the congregation, the serpent can be seen speaking from the podium, speaking words of war handed to him, instructing us to abandon God's will and replace it with theirs. Heavy is the sudden impact of a new reality. So many pages written in our hearts that never made it to paper. So many sages, saviors, soothsayers, and lost prayers. So many believers, doubters, heroes, villains, and cowards. And this is what makes us, us. What has always made us, us. Our leaders will not define us. They remain behind us. They are doing their best to destroy us, to save themselves, to cause us not to believe in ourselves, but only them. And I've got questions, and we are all the answer. And when one introduces a new narrative, an unpopular opinion, a different outlook, a fact forbidden, an unwanted, untold truth, they will be challenged, slandered, antagonized, demonized, canceled, crucified. So, for the sake of others, are you up for a sacrifice? And if not, do not dare disrespect those that are. Shorter than that. I wrote this one about 19 years ago, so I'm going to try and see if I can get through it. If not, I'm just going to bury my head in shame and walk back to my seat. Have you ever seen the way that they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way that they break a horse's spirit with no care at all? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? A rope tied to a wooden post, approximately 2 feet, center of the scorching sun, almost resembling the width of low-income house space, almost like an office cubicle, almost like the perimeter freedoms we actually are free to practice. Conformists march with one purpose: protect thy master. And every leader is a religious fanatic, just like a good Christian, leaning on that same wooden post, reading from the Bible. Freedom is a myth, though. Freedom is a choice of much consequence. consequence. I mean, who wants to be told that we are wrong and that our future wrongs will make right out of a horrible past? I mean, we could restore this nation's deficit, but that would mean one less movie, one less sportsman, and much less profit. And today's prophets are zombies. Shadows of passing souls who possess mind control. We're living up to an ancient character's roles. This shit's been done before. Witch hunters exiled plague this nation today. Growing by number. Every new child, another contestant. Presidents mock the worth of their residents and legalize more and more antidepressants to control youth through new scientific breakthroughs into another altered dimension. Children cry for more. Ignored by adults and crying for more than most because everything just simply isn't enough. There is more blasphemy in the community church than the raw pure thoughts running through a painted slate tainted by paper gods. Inanimate objects hold more worth than you. I broke curfews, traveled for the nearest boundaries that ever allow me to, and saw stories of a world retold through glorious fiction. Fairy tales prevail over yesterday's reality. And today's reality is touched up on TV. Isn't anything real anymore? American Idol's got more followers than their originators. Flat surface trapped in the square screen. We ran out of 3D glasses to drink the all-sided truth from. Never gonna run out of glasses of poison and unattended, unattentive youth. Picking locks in daddy's liquor cabinets because it's easier to lie to the drunken than it is to sober and so-called conscious. Most know, but they will never show. In fear of being tied to a wooden post. Punched, kicked, scarred, and beaten for believing in themselves and not practicing the beliefs of someone else. Change may not save, but change may help. Change may change these old ways, have them transform themselves into new days. The tomorrow's always promised, which never seemed to have came, may just be today. But yesterday's thinker oversees the beauty of difference and marks it as a cancer. Oversees the beauty of difference is marked as a cancer. But we think we got the cure. I could show you the way without speaking one word, but you don't like to be touched. Especially by great spirit, Joel, pastor said. Discipline directs you to obedience. Confidence lessens with every snap of the whip. Masochist seen as heaven going. Extremists, the activists fighting opposing fascists in order to become another's fascist. Confusing the masses. No complete unity equals one more for the enemy. Dividing the structure of the strong force which threaten to corrupt authority with an imbalance of power. Enslaving the free people. Free-thinking people thinking they free people. Controlled by alarm clocks. Time clocks and big boss, your new God in his church and state. I see church and state designed with mistakes are outcasts with the voice speaking in tongue. Who fired first? Who was fired first? Who do we really fight for? Who do we see through peoples in our doors but violent citizens praying for more tragedies to happen in order to justify the chaos they cause? This cross calls for the second child of God, a daughter of God, the sacrifice a woman makes. Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way they break a horse's spirit? Have you ever seen the way man breaks a woman's spirit with no care at all? Magic women with tragic ends. Mothers, I believe it is time to stop baptizing your children in the same rivers where their ancestors once drowned. Thank you for having me. Have a great night.
Give it up for Mr. Harry, man. That poetry, that beat. I love it, brother. You took us to church. Church tonight, brother. Love it.